What does One Piece chapter 1188 have in store for me today? You already know. I'm here to find out. So come experience with me. And I am already seeing a absolutely gorgeous color page by Oda. And it's got the whole straw hat crew here, and they're underwater, um, riding on a giant turtle, a crab. We got Frankie and Robin together, got their ship going. Sanji here looks upset that Nami is, well, she's front and center, looking bodacious as always. And he looks very jealous because, and angry because she's like snuggling this sea turtle. And of course, Sanji doesn't want anyone else to have Nami's affection. And, we got the rest of the crew just doing their thing. Zoro is, of course, sleeping. If he's not drinking or fighting, he's sleeping. So, beautiful color page right here. Oda always just does a fantastic job. The color palette that he uses a lot of the times on these color pages are very vibrant, pastel, and just really, really pleasing to look at. So, enough of the color page because I cannot wait to get into this chapter. Now, are we going to get a fully focused, like Luffy versus Emu fight chapter? I don't know. Oda does love to play the cutaway game, but at the same time, he gave us a full chapter of Loki versus Emu. So hopefully, our boy Luffy will get the same treatment. So here we are, starting off. And someone's coming in over a Den Mushi, I'm assuming, or a radio or whatever. Hello, hello, come in. Hello? What? Huh? Chapter 1188, Vohu. Vohu? Now, what is that? Am I supposed to know what that is? What is bohu? And it's another four-letter word. It was like the one, having the chapter for Zaza not a few weeks ago. The chapter wasn't that many chapters ago, but because we had breaks in the flashback. But that one was like, who the heck is Zaza? This is another four-letter word, Vohu. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting another god up in this. I don't know. Who are you? Moo? Question mark. I am Emu. Who art thou? Oh me. I'm Joy Boy. So is this like first communication between Emu and Joy Boy? And okay, wait a second here, because I do want to pause on this moment because we get a little snippet of Joy Boy's appearance. It's just his mouth and his face. It looks like Luffy, but silhouettes and partial reveals in One Piece are never what they appear to be almost 100% of the time. So I'm not going to try to glean too much from the appearance of Joy Boy in this panel, but I do want to touch on one, this seems to be their first interaction. So coming over a radio, or maybe the first Den Mushi, or however they used to communicate back in that time. And it appears to me that, like, through the static, it almost seems like Joy Boy misheard Emu, and because that it says moo, because the one says moo, and then the next one says I am Emu with exclamation points. Basically, it seems like he heard from Joy Boy that he called him moo and not emu, and he's like correcting him. And I think that would be really interesting because Luffy has a habit of completely mishearing, or just he gets names wrong all the time. So this may be a similar situation here. So like maybe a particular character trait that both Joy Boy and Luffy share. So just thought that was pretty interesting. And indeed, Joy Boy, we're now obviously back into the present. Joy Boy is long dead. So why dost thou remind Moo of that time? And he's like charging up the omen flame on his left hand. Oh, and it's like encompassing his entire arm. And also Emu, like Luffy's not doing anything. He just looks like somebody and has the same power. And you're like, why do you remind me of that time? And it's like, Luffy's not doing anything on purpose. And yeah, Luffy's like, how should I know? And Emu goes for a left jab with his like black omen fire fist. Luffy literally dodges with his head going straight down. It reminds me very much, not one to one, but when he was fighting against Lucci on Egghead, and Lucci was going for like the finger pistols, and Luffy was like moving his head out of the way with his hands to dodge the attacks. This one, he didn't use his hands, but it's still shooting his head down. And then we got the little flame, the little black omen flame, little talking homies. Huh? He dodged. Below us. Down, down. Luffy's like, what? Oh, and he gets rocked in the back of the dome. It extends his punch. The punch diverted and just blasts Luffy down into the branches of the Sun Realm. And explosion. That's crazy. So it's like an undodgeable, similar to last chapter with Stigma. If he like gets the flames on you, it it's used as like a homing device to then use Stigma to like do kind of like a sure hit attack. Well, this you try to dodge any way you try to move. If the punch can just change direction, that's crazy. And Luffy it was like, oh, he's like stuck in the ground or in the branch, and he pops out and he's charred. It reminds me after he like took like a blast breath from Kaido in Wano, and he's all singed. He goes for a punch. Emu just straight dodges speed. Now he's behind Luffy. He goes for a thrust with his glaive. Luffy phew, gone too. So they're speeding around each other. And then we got Emu hearing something, and then he starts spinning his glaive, and Luffy tried to get off a bunch of punches. Maybe it looks kind of like a Gatling, like da 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 da, because it is like a rapid fire succession of punches, but he didn't actually like name the attack. Arr, I was able to hit you before. Yeah, well, yeah, that one punch you were able to hit him, but that was him seemingly like I don't know, he was distracted. It's similar to the situation with Loki in their chapter where they fought, where Loki really only landed a blow because Emu got distracted, getting all angry about thinking about Joy Boy. And that's how Loki got off that massive hammer lightning strike on Emu. But besides that, Emu handedly was taking care of Loki. So I feel like that's a similar situation to the punch that Luffy was able to land. And now that he's actually focused on fighting Luffy, I mean, it's not going to be that easy, dude. Okay, and we got him doing the double sixes again and shooting off omen bombs. Close one. Luffy's doing his like super fast leg spinning run. He's zooming around, but Emu's still just shooting more of these omen black fire bombs at Luffy. Oh, and they're chasing. Whoa, they're chasing me. Are those supposed to be bombs? Gum Gum, and Luffy's kind of like pivoting to turn around. Oh, and you see his punches like hitting each one of the omen bombs. Jet Gatling. Okay, so he purposely decided to um, activate the bombs, set them off before they reached him so that he could keep the explosion at a distance. Really, really smart by Luffy. Sometimes Luffy has Luffy does some goofy stuff during fights, but then other times he exhibits like very, very high battle IQ. So it's always fun watching Luffy fight. Gum Gum, Emu's like Surprised genie. What is this? What is this? What the heck is this? Luffy literally turned into a genie. Ho 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 ho. Oh yeah, I saw your fight with Loki, and I won't let his death be in vain. Wait, you think he's dead? But wait, okay, this genie, but like, what does it do? Does it do anything different? I love the design. So just from a design standpoint, it's crazy because it doesn't look like Luffy at all, except he does have the little scar. And I'm noticing on his like turban thing on his head, he's got this little piece of meat. So he's the meat genie, however you want to take that. but like, what does it? Can he do anything special as a genie? Like, is he gonna pull out a lamp and try to like seal off maybe some of Emu's like omen bombs and attacks? Or I don't know, like, does he gain special abilities, or is it just physical? Oh, and there's Loki. I'm still alive, you moron. Cough, wheeze. Yeah, dude, you're rough though. Oh, hey, Loki, you're alive. And Luffy's like, hey, what's up? And there goes Emu getting ready to shoot. He's shooting off more bombs at Luffy. Ah, crap. Damn it. And then here's Ragnar. Oh, he's shooting. Interesting. Okay. Emu wasn't shooting the omen bombs at Luffy here. He was shooting it at Loki. Basically seeing him there and is like, okay, I got it. Like, you're still alive. I'm going to finish you off here. And he shoots off the bombs, and Ragnar actually got on top of him to just take it, to just take the attack. What a ride or die squirrel. Like, Ragnar is a boss. But here comes our boy, first son of the sea, Jinbei, with an arabesque brick fist to to stop the bombs. That's really cool because he's basically, we know that the Fishman karate, this attack, it vibrates the water molecules, and that's what it does, internal damage to people, because you have so much water in your body. But he can also do it because there's water molecules in the air as well, so he's disturbing the bombs and they're exploding before reaching them. So very, very cool. Good job, Jinbei. Way to protect Loki and Ragnar. You're a G. Also, going back a little bit, in he Luffy was saying after he turned into the genie here, he's like, I saw your fight with Loki. Does that mean like Luffy came up with, he's saying that after he turns into the genie here? So is the genie an important part of the way that he, from seeing the fight with Loki, he's able to deduce like a plan to potentially defeat Emu, and it revolves around the genie? That's kind of how I'm interpreting that. But turning the page here, Jinbei, Luffy, Luffy, do you want me to make sure he's protected? That's right. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Jinbei. He's my pal. Yes. I ain't nobody's pal, stupid pipsqueak, Loki. Luffy doesn't care. He doesn't care. It's like the situation when we formed an alliance with Law and the Heart Pirates, and the Straw Hats are like, I don't think you understand that Luffy, when he hears alliance, it's not what you're picturing. He now just thinks you guys are friends. Like, basically, that's the gist of it. And it took Law a long time to figure out that you're just friends now, and Luffy doesn't care whether you say it's not true. It doesn't care. So, Loki, sorry, like, you're friends. You're friends. Luffy says so. Sorry. All right, I can do that. You focus on the fight. Let's go, Jinbei. Sweet. Wait, Luffy, he's fighting that guy from before. Is he going to be all right? Who is that guy, anyways? We have Brook here talking. The only people higher than the Knights of God are supposed to be the five elders, as far as I know. So maybe he's the Knights commander. I bet that's it. That's Usopp there. I mean, these are pretty normal deductions from their part. There is no group more shrouded in mystery than the world government. Exactly. Yeah, there would be no way for them to know that there is a king of the world. Like the even all of the sovereigns of all of the nations that come to the reverie and are part of the world government, they don't even know that Emu exists. So of course some pirates out here are going to have no clue whatsoever. Hey Brooke, she's almost out. Okay, they're talking about Shuri here or Gunko. Ah, Princess Shuri, what's our next step? What does one do with a frozen person? Well, let's see. When Robin and Luffy got frozen, they've been frozen before? Yeah, dude, during their fight with Aokiji. Yeah, that's right. Kuzan froze them and they like had to put him in the bath on the Mary and like slowly thaw them out. Gunko, couldst thou not break that ice? A man with an afro calling Gunko Princess Shuri. Could it be? Okay, so he knows of Brooke. That's crazy. I mean, probably assumedly through his. Well, we know that Emu was there to Domi Reversi, Shuri, and the king because he like went through Mars, who was presumably summoned by oh gosh, why can't I remember his name? The Manmeyer Holy Knight. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't remember his name. It starts with a G. It starts with a G. Wow. I'm drawing a huge blank here. But yes, the God Knight, summoned him, summoned Mars, and then through Mars, Emu came. So he saw Princess Shuri, and also assumedly, when Brooke comes into the palace and sees the carnage that was happening. But he also, Emu here, this is interesting to me because he says, Gunko, like you could not break that ice. Like, homie, you couldn't break that ice. You shot those omen bombs at the ice and it did not break it. So it's like you couldn't do it. So why would Gunko be able to do it? And then Luffy, what the heck? Caught you slipping, bullet? No way. He said, caught you slipping. Luffy tried to go for a surprise attack. But this time, Emu was totally on it without any issue. And Luffy has his like coated in armament hockey and presumably Conqueror's hockey as well. It's so hard to tell with the way Oda does Conqueror's hockey, but also just hockey in general. It gets really confusing to know. Like Black Lightning does not just automatically mean Conqueror's hockey, but considering we both have Luffy and Emu here, and Luffy knows the threat that Emu possesses, my assumption is he would not be pulling any of his punches. So I'm gonna go with that. It has some Conqueror's hockey there, and Emu just casually blocks it. Were thou not watching earlier? Oh, and he's doing the ding ding ding. So he's going for stigma, at least unless he's got another attack that's similar to this. Yep, and Luffy's got the black flames right on his chest too. Watching what happened to Loki, despite his size. Stigma. Yeah, he did. And Luffy de-transforms and kind of like rolls out of the way just in time before he got obliterated by that attack. Got Emu shooting off more omen bombs. Gosh, Luffy, what are you going to do about these bombs, dude? You got to come up with something. And that's what I thought. The genie, I thought, because he's saying like he saw the fight with Loki. So my assumption is that he was coming up with an answer for the omen bombs. And maybe it had to do with like a genie lamp or something and sealing it. But he's already out of the genie transformation and he's on the run again from these bombs. So Luffy, maybe you like use the environment to obstruct the bombs. I mean, it's a very, very difficult ability to deal with unless you have ranged attacks. Like you need ranged abilities like Emu. He has both close combat superiority and he has ranged attacks as well, which is devastating, especially against a fighter like Luffy, who essentially just has close combat. He can do some funny stuff to kind of make it, you know, like he has ranged abilities, obviously with his stretchiness, but uh, Luffy just he needs more. I don't know what exactly, but if we're talking about competing at the highest level, like the top tiers of all time, Luffy needs more. I just right now, Emu is completely controlling this fight, this chapter. And Emu lands on the ground. He spins his glaive. It just turns into a pop, just turns into a little omen fire demon thing, goes back into the ring, and then now a sword is coming out of the ring behind Emu. What is that? That is a nasty, nasty sword. Also, incredible panel here from Oda. This drawing of Emu looks incredible. Blade of Nothingness, Vohu. Okay, there's the name. Okay, so there's the name from the name of the chapter, Vohu. That's this blade. Now, wait a second. Is the tree is getting, it's like getting sapped. Okay, wait a second. All right, all right, all right, all right. There's a few things that I feel the need to touch on here. First, this blade seems like the first actual sword Emu has used in this fight. So he has his glaive, which is like a physical blade or a physical weapon as well, but it's not a sword. It's like a glaive. And so this is like his first real sword, because the other ones we've seen, like Nemesis, Graham, and Stigma, those all appear to just be swords formed out of the omen flames, like the omen. Whereas this looks like he summons an actual physical sword that exists, because he trades out a physical weapon in his glaive, puts it back in the ring. It's like a storage system. And then out pops the Blade of Nothingness, Vohu. And he's actually like holding it in his hand. And okay, so that's first of all, I think this is a real blade. Now is this a black blade? Because I'm my thoughts, I'm immediately, you see swords, you see blades, you think of Emu, or you think of Mihawk. That already happened when Nemesis came out, because the blade itself looked similar to Yoru as well. It could be a black blade, like the what's it called? The actual like curve, like the actual blade. The back end is black, but there's also like the black flames coming off of it as well. So it's like a mixture of black and normal looking. I don't know. I really don't know. But apparently it has an ability on its own, because I am seeing the trees get shrivel up, all of the leaves fall off. So Blade of Nothingness. I have kind of like two thoughts about what's going on with this blade. One, it's covered in the black flames. So is it heat based? So it's just outputting so much heat that it's basically sucking up the moisture out of the air and the trees. So then it's causing them to wilt and die. Or is it more sinister and it's actually like draining life force? Like this is a cursed blade that can drain the life force of organic matter around it. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are on this blade, but it looks sweet. Emu just continues to just pull stuff out of his bag like a magician. He just is pulling more and more out, and he just gets more and more impressive. Okay, let's finish this chapter. I'm looking, yeah, because we're near the end here. Okay, all of the branches on this tree are just getting sapped. Huh? The forest dried out. Yeah, exactly, dried out. So like I said, I don't know if it's heat based or if it's uh absorbing like life force. The view is clearer now. Well, yeah, you just completely eradicated. Same from up here. And Luffy, what is going on here? Oh, Emu like jumps off the branch because he can see Luffy up above him. Of course, I know that thou art not Joy Boy. And he's just rocketing at Luffy, huh? And then Shud, I'm hearing this. Luffy's coughing up blood. Go. Ah. Yo, what? Joy Boy was not this weak. Oh, Luffy's literally got stabbed through the chest. No, sorry, not chest. His entire midsection. He is skewered. He has been skewered by Emu. There is blood everywhere. Joy Boy was not this weak. Yo, he is talking his crap right now. And that's the end of the chapter. Okay. What? Dude, of course Luffy's not dead. He's the main character. He's the main character. Okay. I have so many feelings right now. It's kind of hard to get my thoughts straight at the moment. First off, and this may sound weird, I'm this does sound weird. I am happy with this result. Now, not like I love Luffy. I think he has grown immensely. But if Emu is the final villain and he's endgame and he's one of the strongest characters of all time, all generations, Luffy was not there yet. And this is showing that to absolutely be the case. And I think it makes complete sense. Wow. Okay. Yeah, because Emu dominated this entire chapter. Like Luffy didn't get off a single attack on Emu. Of course, Luffy's not going to be, he's not going to die. But the reason I like it's similar to the situation in the beginning of Wano in Act 1, when Kaido one-shots Gear 4 Luffy. That had to happen. That had to happen. That facilitated a need for growth for Luffy to try to reach the next stratosphere of strength. It has to happen again. It has to happen again. And Oda is providing that. And I think a lot of it has to do with my running kind of theory thought is that Luffy has not fully awakened the sun god fruit. I think he has a next step with the sun god fruit. And my kind of headcanon indication of that is Luffy has the sash, the like cloud sash, and people like Emu, and then even the dream demon form of Zaza has a ring. And that's another one of the gods of the pantheon of the One Piece world. I don't think the sun god should be any exception. Or at least that's my guess. So Luffy ascending to the next, like a second awakening, basically, because we know when he did die in Wano, that was his way to awaken to the sun god fruit, to his actual devil fruit. But I think that was just the first step. I feel like these mythical fruits, these god fruits, have like a second level to them. And I think it's necessary. And unless the upgrade is in hockey, in Conqueror's Hockey, which I think that there is still a lot to be explored for Conqueror's Hockey, because we saw with like the hockey knot with through Joy Boy's hockey knot and on Egghead, just how absurdly powerful that was. It's like the greatest hockey feat we've seen. It made the Gorosei de-transform and get sent back to the Holy Land. It completely wiped out an entire island, and it didn't even have hostility in it. So in that was compared, or Shanks was brought up in comparison to that level of hockey. Now, not at the same, I would, Joy Boy is above that, but Shanks seems to be like, at least to be even brought up in that conversation. He's clearly reached another level of hockey as well. So I think that this isn't necessary for Luffy's growth because right now he's not touching Emu. And I was gonna say that Loki performed even better than Luffy, but honestly, I think it's about the same because I brought this up earlier in the chapter that Loki really only got off his attack to damage Emu because Emu was caught lacking. He was asleep at the wheel because he got caught up in his emotions, and that gave Loki the opening to get the attack off. And I think that that punch that Luffy got off on Emu was a similar situation of him just honestly being caught lacking. Wow. What a chapter, though. And that's not to say, like, I just, I think that this is necessary. Now, where Oda goes with this, that is going to be, I think, the most interesting part because I'm hoping it's not just like a Wano situation where Luffy like basically dies and then that just kickstarts. I want it to be maybe this is part of the catalyst, but then the other part comes from Luffy. Luffy's understanding of something, maybe at the brink of death. Maybe he gets in contact somehow with the god in the fruit, you know, the will, because we know that the Zoans, they have a will like of their own because there's an animal or a being kind of that's what it's modeled after. So maybe it's like coming in contact with the real sun god. Like, I don't know. My brain is just, it's looking for ways for Luffy to unlock a new level. So, but I would love to hear from you guys what you think. This was, like I said, great chapter. Just shocked we pretty much stayed with Luffy and Loki the whole time, and our Luffy and Emu, which I love. Oda is actually like sticking on fights for longer than I feel like he usually does. And then there's that blade. That blade to me is just super, super interesting and it looks amazing. I need like some like concrete explanations of how Emu is doing all of this stuff. I don't know if we'll actually get that, but regardless, I've yapped on enough about just this amazing chapter. I think this was a wake up call again for Luffy, and I think it's going to facilitate a further level of growth. And I'm kind of anticipating a similar situation for the other two in the monster trio, so both Zoro and Sanji. I think in their fights they are going to struggle with the Omen enhanced Summers and Killingham, and I think it's going to require both of them to overcome and both well, Sanji needs to awaken his Conqueror's Haki, but they both need to learn how to utilize it properly in their fights to be able to actually put the God Knights down. So this is, I think, Elbaf from a narrative standpoint for the Straw Hats and specifically our top guys. I think this is the arc that establishes or paves the way for them to step into that top upper echelon of power in the One Piece verse. That's kind of like what I think that this arc is leading towards, because then that's going to head into the actual race and chase of getting to the One Piece. So, thank you for being here to experience this chapter with me, And I cannot wait to get into the next one with you guys. So, peace.